My topic is influencer marketing disadvantages and detail explain, and let's go to the topic and let's go to the start. Influencer marketing can be a powerful tool for brands to reach their target audience and promote their products or services. However, like any marketing strategy, it also has its disadvantages. Here are some common disadvantages of influencer marketing. Authenticity concerns. One of the main challenges with influencer marketing is ensuring the authenticity of the influencer's endorsement. Some influencers may promote products or services solely for financial gain, without genuinely believing in or using them. This lack of authenticity can lead to a loss of trust among consumers and negatively impact the brand's reputation. Ineffectiveness in certain industries. While influencer marketing can be highly effective for certain industries and products, it may not work as well in others. For example, if a product or service is highly technical or requires a significant amount of explanation, it may be challenging for influencers to effectively convey its benefits to their audience. Difficulty in measuring ROI. Determining the return on investment (ROI) of influencer marketing campaigns can be challenging. Unlike other marketing channels where metrics like click-through rates or conversion rates are easily measurable, influencer marketing ROI is often based on more subjective factors like brand awareness, engagement, and sentiment analysis. Influencer credibility and reputation risks. When partnering with influencers, brands are essentially associating themselves with the influencer's personal brand and reputation. If an influencer engages in controversial behavior, makes offensive comments, or gets involved in scandals, it can reflect poorly on the brand. Therefore, careful vetting and ongoing monitoring of influencers are necessary to mitigate these risks. Limited control over content. Brands often have limited control over the content that influencers create. While guidelines can be provided, influencers have their own style and creative freedom, which can sometimes result in content that does not align perfectly with the brand's messaging or values. Saturation and ad fatigue. With the rise in popularity of influencer marketing, some social media platforms have become oversaturated with sponsored posts and endorsements. As a result, consumers may become fatigued and less receptive to influencer content, reducing its overall effectiveness. Potential for negative public sentiment. In some cases, influencer marketing campaigns can face backlash from the public. This can happen if consumers perceive the influencer's endorsement as disingenuous or if the campaign is seen as exploitative or misleading. Negative sentiment can spread quickly on social media and have a lasting impact on the brand's reputation. To mitigate these disadvantages, brands should carefully select influencers whose values align with their own, establish clear expectations and guidelines, and regularly monitor and evaluate the performance and impact of influencer marketing campaigns. Influencer marketing has gained significant popularity in recent years as a powerful strategy for promoting products or services through influential individuals on social media platforms. However, like any marketing approach, there are also some disadvantages associated with influencer marketing. Here are a few of them. Authenticity and trustworthiness. While influencers can help raise awareness and reach a specific target audience, there is a risk that some influencers may promote products or services solely for financial gain, without genuinely believing in or using them. This lack of authenticity can lead to a loss of trust among their followers, potentially affecting the effectiveness of the marketing campaign. Cost. Influencer marketing campaigns can be expensive, especially when working with well-established or high-demand influencers. The cost may include fees for sponsored posts, product samples, or other forms of compensation. For smaller businesses or those with limited budgets, this can be a significant drawback. Difficulty in measuring ROI. Determining the return on investment (ROI) of influencer marketing campaigns can be challenging. Unlike traditional forms of advertising where metrics such as impressions and click-through rates are easily measurable, influencer marketing often relies on softer metrics like engagement and brand sentiment. This makes it difficult to quantify the direct impact of influencer collaborations on sales or conversions. Lack of control. When partnering with influencers, businesses relinquish some control over the content and messaging. Influencers have their own creative style and tone, which may not align perfectly with the brand's image or messaging. This lack of control can result in inconsistent or diluted brand communication. Potential for negative publicity. Influencers are human, and they may make mistakes or engage in controversial behavior that could negatively impact the brand they are associated with. In such cases, the brand's reputation could suffer as well. It is crucial for businesses to carefully vet and monitor the influencers they collaborate with to mitigate this risk. Saturation and oversaturation. With the rise in popularity of influencer marketing, social media platforms have become saturated with sponsored content. As a result, audiences may become desensitized to such posts and develop ad blindness. It becomes increasingly challenging for brands to stand out and make a lasting impression among the flood of sponsored content. Despite these disadvantages, influencer marketing can still be a valuable tool for businesses when executed strategically and in alignment with their goals. It is essential to carefully select influencers who resonate with the brand's values and target audience while maintaining transparency and authenticity throughout the partnership. Expensive. Influencer marketing can be expensive, especially if you want to work with high-profile influencers. You may have to pay significant amounts of money to get them to promote your product or service. Uncertain ROI. It can be hard to measure the ROI of influencer marketing. Although influencers have large followings, it's not always clear how many of their followers are truly interested in the products or services they promote. Lack of control. When you work with influencers, you're essentially placing your brand reputation in their hands. You have no control over how they promote your product or service, which can sometimes result in negative feedback depending on the delivery. Difficulty in finding the right influencer. Finding the right influencer for your brand or product can be challenging and time-consuming. The influencer must have an audience that aligns with your target demographics, values and attitudes. Not suitable for all industries. Influencer marketing may not be suitable for all industries or products. For example, if you sell highly technical goods or medical equipment, influencers may not be able to effectively explain the product benefits. Difficulty in managing a campaign. Influencer marketing campaigns can be complex and require a lot of coordination between your team and the influencer. This includes the type of content, publishing schedules, and clear communication. Influencer credibility. There is no guarantee that the influencer will maintain their credibility. Some influencers may promote one brand today and another tomorrow, so you need to be cautious on who you work with. Cost. Collaborating with influencers can be expensive, especially when working with popular or high-profile influencers. Influencers often charge significant fees for their services, and these costs may not always align with a company's budget or expected return on investment. Authenticity concerns. One of the primary challenges in influencer marketing is ensuring the authenticity of the content. Some influencers may promote products or services without genuinely using or believing in them. This lack of authenticity can lead to a loss of credibility and trust among the audience, potentially impacting the brand's reputation. Limited control. When partnering with influencers, brands have limited control over the content they create. While guidelines can be provided, the final product is ultimately in the hands of the influencer. This lack of control may result in content that does not align perfectly with the brand's messaging or standards. Risk of association with controversy. Influencers are individuals with their own personal lives and beliefs. There is a risk that an influencer may become involved in a controversy or engage in behavior that goes against the values of the brand. If such situations arise, it can negatively impact the brand's reputation by association. Difficulty in measuring ROI. Determining the return on investment, ROI, of influencer marketing campaigns can be challenging. Measuring the direct impact of influencer collaborations on sales or brand awareness can be elusive, making it difficult to evaluate the effectiveness of these campaigns accurately. Saturation and declining trust. The popularity of influencer marketing has led to an oversaturation of sponsored content on social media platforms. As a result, some audiences have become more skeptical and less trusting of influencer recommendations, diminishing the overall effectiveness of such marketing efforts. Influencer selection and fit. Finding the right influencers who genuinely align with a brand's values, target audience, and goals can be a time-consuming and challenging task. A poor match between the influencer and the brand can lead to ineffective campaigns and wasted resources. It's important to note that while these disadvantages exist, influencer marketing can still be a valuable and effective strategy when approached strategically and with careful consideration of these potential drawbacks. Unrealistic expectations. Brands may expect an immediate increase in sales with influencers, but this is not always the case. Influencer marketing takes time and effort to create effective campaigns, and results will not always be instant. Fraudulent activity. Some influencers may use fake followers or engagement to boost their reputation. This can hurt brands that partner with them and may tarnish their reputation as well. Difficulty measuring ROI. It can be challenging to measure the ROI of influencer marketing campaigns, making it hard to justify the cost to upper management. Reputation risk. If the influencer does something controversial or unethical, it could damage the brand's reputation by association. Lack of control. Brands can't necessarily control what influencers post, and they may have to deal with negative content or messaging. High costs. Partnering with high-profile influencers can be costly, and it may not always be worth it for the brand. Limited reach. Influencers often have a specific target audience, which may not align with the brand's target audience. This can limit the reach and effectiveness of a campaign. Cost. Collaborating with popular influencers can be expensive, especially if they have a large following or high engagement rates. The fees for sponsored content or partnerships can vary significantly, and it may not always guarantee a return on investment. Authenticity concerns. In some cases, influencers may promote products or services solely for financial gain, compromising their authenticity. This can lead to a loss of trust among their followers, especially if they feel deceived or if the promoted products do not align with the influencer's values. Limited control. When working with influencers, brands have limited control over the content they produce. While guidelines and agreements can be established, there is still the risk that the influencer's message or presentation may not align with the brand's desired image or target audience. Measurement and ROI challenges. Determining the exact return on investment, ROI, of influencer marketing can be challenging. Measuring the impact and effectiveness of influencer campaigns can be subjective, and it may be difficult to quantify the actual value generated from the collaboration. Follower authenticity and engagement. Not all influencers have genuine followers or high levels of engagement. Some influencers may resort to purchasing followers or engagement, which can skew the perceived reach and impact of their content. This can lead to misleading metrics and ineffective marketing results. Influencer reputation risks. An influencer's reputation can change or face controversies over time. If a brand associates itself with an influencer who later gets involved in scandals or exhibits undesirable behavior, it can negatively impact the brand's image and reputation. Saturated market. Influencer marketing has become increasingly popular, leading to a saturated market. With numerous brands competing for the attention of the same influencers, it can be challenging to stand out and achieve the desired impact. Despite these disadvantages, influencer marketing can still be a powerful tool when used strategically and with careful consideration of the influencer's authenticity, audience alignment, and the overall marketing goals. Cost. Collaborating with popular influencers often comes with a hefty price tag. Influencers with a large following and high engagement rates typically charge substantial fees for sponsored posts or partnerships. This can make it challenging for small businesses or those with limited marketing budgets to engage in influencer marketing. Authenticity concerns. While many influencers maintain authenticity and credibility, some may compromise their integrity by promoting products or services that they don't genuinely believe in. This can lead to a lack of trust and credibility among their followers, potentially affecting the effectiveness of the marketing campaign. Audience targeting limitations. Influencers typically have a specific niche or audience segment that follows them. If the influencer's audience does not align well with a brand's target audience, the campaign may not generate the desired results. It requires thorough research and analysis to ensure the influencer's followers match the brand's target demographics and interests. Lack of control. When partnering with influencers, brands have limited control over the content and messaging. While guidelines and briefs can be provided, ultimately, the influencer has creative control over how they present the brand or product. This can sometimes result in content that doesn't align perfectly with the brand's vision or messaging. Measurement and ROI challenges. Measuring the effectiveness and return on investment, ROI, of influencer marketing can be challenging. Unlike other forms of marketing, such as digital ads with clear metrics, influencer marketing often relies on metrics like engagement rates, reach, and sentiment analysis, which can be subjective and difficult to quantify. This can make it harder to assess the campaign's success and justify the investment. Influencer controversies. Influencers are individuals with their own personal lives and opinions. Occasionally, influencers may get involved in controversies or scandals that could negatively impact the brands they are associated with. If an influencer's reputation takes a hit, it can reflect poorly on the brands they have endorsed, leading to potential reputational damage. Saturation and diminishing returns. With the increasing popularity of influencer marketing, the market can become saturated. As a result, consumers may become desensitized to sponsored content and develop a sense of skepticism towards influencer endorsements. This can lead to diminishing returns on investment as the impact and effectiveness of influencer marketing decline. It's important for brands to consider these disadvantages and carefully evaluate their objectives, target audience, and budget before engaging in influencer marketing campaigns. A well-planned and thought-out strategy can help mitigate these challenges and maximize the benefits of influencer collaborations. Lack of authenticity. Influencers often promote products or services in a way that appears genuine, but in reality, they may be motivated primarily by financial incentives. This can lead to a lack of authenticity and trustworthiness in the eyes of consumers. Inflated follower counts and engagement. Some influencers may resort to purchasing fake followers or engagement to make themselves appear more influential. This can mislead brands into thinking they are reaching a larger audience than they actually are, resulting in ineffective marketing campaigns. Difficulty in measuring ROI. Determining the return on investment, ROI, of influencer marketing can be challenging. Tracking conversions or attributing them solely to influencer efforts can be complex, making it difficult to assess the effectiveness and value of the campaign. Influencer scandals and controversies. Influencers are not immune to scandals or controversies. If an influencer is involved in a negative event or controversy, it can reflect poorly on the brands they have worked with, potentially damaging their reputation and brand image. Oversaturation of the market. The rise in popularity of influencer marketing has led to a saturation of the market, with numerous influencers vying for attention. As a result, it can be challenging for brands to stand out and effectively reach their target audience. Limited control over brand messaging. When partnering with influencers, brands relinquish some control over how their products or services are portrayed. Influencers have their own creative freedom, which means the brand's messaging may not always align perfectly with their own marketing objectives. High costs. Influencer marketing can be expensive, especially when working with well-known or highly influential influencers. The fees charged by influencers can vary significantly, and for smaller brands with limited budgets, this can be a barrier to entry. Lack of long-term impact. Influencer marketing campaigns often generate short-term boosts in brand visibility or sales, but they may not always result in lasting effects. The impact of influencer campaigns can fade quickly, requiring brands to continuously invest in new influencer partnerships to maintain momentum. It's important to note that while these disadvantages exist, influencer marketing can still be a valuable strategy when executed carefully and strategically. It's essential for brands to thoroughly research and vet influencers, establish clear goals and expectations, and continuously evaluate the effectiveness of their campaign. Influencer marketing has gained significant popularity in recent years as a strategy for brands to reach their target audience through influential individuals on social media platforms. While it can be an effective marketing approach, there are also some disadvantages associated with influencer marketing. Here are a few potential drawbacks. Lack of authenticity. One of the main concerns with influencer marketing is the issue of authenticity. Some influencers may promote products or services solely for financial gain, without genuinely believing in or using them. This lack of authenticity can erode trust among their followers and harm the brand's reputation. Influencer fraud. Influencer fraud is a growing problem in the industry. It involves influencers artificially inflating their follower counts, engagement metrics, or using other deceptive tactics to mislead brands into thinking they have a larger reach or influence than they actually do. This can lead to wasted marketing budgets and ineffective campaigns. Limited control. When collaborating with influencers, brands have limited control over the content that is produced. While they can provide guidelines, there's always the risk that influencers may deviate or values, potentially causing reputational damage. Difficulty in measuring ROI. Measuring the return on investment, ROI, of influencer marketing can be challenging. Determining the impact of influencer campaigns on metrics such as sales or brand awareness can be subjective and difficult to quantify accurately. This lack of concrete data can make it harder for brands to evaluate the success of their influencer marketing efforts. Over-reliance on influencers. Relying too heavily on influencer marketing as a primary marketing strategy can be risky. If an influencer's popularity declines or they become involved in controversies, it can directly impact the brand's reputation and marketing efforts. Diversifying marketing strategies and channels is important to mitigate this risk. Potential regulatory issues. Influencer marketing is subject to regulations and guidelines imposed by advertising and consumer protection agencies. Non-compliance with these regulations, such as failing to disclose sponsored content properly, can lead to legal issues and damage the brand's credibility. High costs. Influencers with a large following or high engagement rates often charge significant fees for collaborations. This can make influencer marketing costly, especially for smaller or budget-constrained brands. Additionally, there is no guarantee of the desired results, making it important to carefully consider the cost-effectiveness of influencer partnerships. While influencer marketing can be an effective tool for brand promotion, it is crucial for brands to carefully select and evaluate influencers, establish clear guidelines, and closely monitor campaigns to mitigate these disadvantages and maximize the benefits. Thank you for watching the video and subscribe the channel.